Hello and welcome to Zoe's first day training video. This is right after we got into the room. You can see she came in pretty skittish. So I just let her investigate the whole room first. There's no reason she should be scared of this corner, but I just let her figure it out by herself. And I wanted to play with her. She played with me for maybe a minute at a time and then lost interest because she was a little anxious. And she did not really want treats, so I started off with something basic, like following the leash and stepping onto a platform. And at first she said, absolutely not. But as we continued training, she figured out that it was no big deal at all. And she got pets and praise when she got on the platform. I just wanted her to get used to when you feel the leash, I need you to go with the leash. And you don't get to avoid the obstacle. We can accomplish the obstacle and get pets and praise. And that's a little bit of a confidence builder too. And throughout the entire video, you will see that I let her hit the end of the leash, but I do not let her pull in the direction that she wants to go. So the basic idea that I'm teaching her is we follow where the leash goes. Good girl. And as soon as she follows where the leash goes, the leash pressure, the tension on the leash goes away. Good. Good. And you can see there was very little leash tension until the very end. And she figured out she can climb on these things absolutely no problem. She would sometimes take treats from me. This was a point in time where she wanted to, but you can also see how distracted she is. And nothing else is going on in the room. She's just very alert and anxious. So I basically just sit with her, and I do have a treat in my hand, and my hand is in the muzzle. So if she wants that treat, she's welcome to take it. But I'm not going to beg her to want to train with me. I will sit here and let her figure out her own anxieties and, kind of settle by herself and choose to engage with me rather than force her to. So we sat here for probably 5 to 8 minutes before she was able to engage with me and take some treats with the muzzle. But it wasn't a super successful go at it because she was just anxious to be in this new room. And there were 2 other dogs in the room in crates though, and she could not see them. Then we worked on some door manners. So basically with door manners, what I do is I just walk up to the door, I open the door a little bit. If they go towards it, I close it. Repeat, 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 until eventually they do hesitate or they just wait. And then once they do that, I finish opening the door and I say, okay, or free, and I walk through the door with them. That just teaches some basic manners around the door. And now I have one of my dogs on a place bed, and she did not like him being over there almost immediately. So you'll see I am outside of the range of the video camera for a while. Because typically when a dog is reactive towards something, you want to create space from that thing. So you'll see that's what I'm doing here, is I bring her closer, I bring her further away. If she gets really tense with her body language or stares him down, I will bring her the other way. That's why I introduced the idea of follow the leash when there's tension on it. So that, when we just pull them away, I'm not really pulling her. I'm just turning around and walking the opposite way. And she is coming with me. I am not giving her any attention for reacting at that dog. And then I realized we would probably do better with the prong collar that you brought. So I put that on her. Those 2-inch collars are just made for pulling. They're made to make it easier for the dog to pull. So here you'll see the proper fit of the prong. You'll want it right up, as high on her neck as you can. And she responds pretty well to it. The way that you want to give a correction on the prong is you want the leash to go slightly loose, and then you want to give a very quick little pop with your wrist. You're not pulling her, you're not dragging her, nothing like that. You're just cinching it for just a moment and getting her attention back. And I don't correct her unless she needs it. So you'll see a lot of the time she does just follow me around, which is perfect, and I praise her for that. And there you see she looked at the dog. Her body language was a little bit more loose than it was in the beginning, and she chose to turn around all by herself, and that was perfect. That's what I'm looking for, is for her to choose to disengage. So I will let her look at the other dog. I will not expect a dog to never look at the thing that they are, triggered by. I want them to acknowledge that it's there and then choose to disengage from it. But if she stares for too long or her body language is too strong, like very stiff, I will give her a little leash pop and continue walking. I do preface that with, I started saying, let's go. And then if she came with me, no leash pop. If she did not come with me, I gave her a little leash pop, and she was really receptive to that. And with a prong collar versus her other collar, you do not want there to be constant tension on the leash. You want that leash to be loose, because in order to give a correction, it has to be loose first so that you can pop it versus pulling it. Here I'm showing you how I hold a leash securely so that the dog cannot get out of my hand. And if you need a shorter leash, you can loop it again, just like that. And your thumb is the stopper. If you need to, like here, my left hand is also on the leash. And then we practice going up on platforms and coming off of them in the presence of the other dog. So we're doing stuff instead of just focusing on that other dog. And again, I will let her look. I will let her be curious, but I will not let her go super stiff, because that is the buildup to a big reaction, which makes her a lot more difficult to handle, because then she goes stiff, and then she starts lunging and barking and, all that stuff. So we have to get her focus changed off of the other dog before she goes into that little bit of a frenzy.
Yeah, good girl. Good girl.
I praise her super heavily when she chooses to disengage from the dog. I don't want to micromanage her. I want her to make good decisions and then get rewarded for those really good decisions.
Yeah. Very nice.
And you'll see as she does better, we get a little closer to my dog. And if she has a big reaction, we get further away from my dog. So if you are able to train like this, like you know somebody that has a very neutral dog,
Good girl.
for one, keep more distance than you think you need, just as a safety measure. And for two, do it for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I did this with her with my dog on the place bed for maybe 20 because I wanted to give enough time that the other dog became just another thing in the room.
Good girl.
But I would recommend doing it for only 5 to 10 minutes. Keep it really short, keep it really successful. If she'll take food, absolutely use food. You will also see that when I give her corrections, I don't use any emotion. I just give her that correction and we keep walking.
Girl.
And when she disengages, I reward her. Even if she just had a reaction, if she disengages, I will reward her. I want to make it really good for her to avoid reacting at the other dog. You'll see that when I reward her with pets and with praise, my tone changes, the way that I pet her changes. I'm petting her very calmly right now because I don't want to amp her up in the presence of another dog. But when we leave the presence of the other dog, I might amp her up a little bit because I'm super happy with what she did, right?
Good girl. Yeah. Good girl. That's nice. Good job.
One thing to think about too is that if she's super amped up, movement away from the trigger, so like the other dog, is going to help her. But then once you move away, you might lessen the amount of movement so that she can calm back down, because you don't want to then bring her closer again while she's still amped up. And then what I do is I give my dog some movement to see how she reacts to that, because she's very triggered by the other dog moving. So I'm having him do small movements. And I'm letting her watch and realize that it's not that big of a deal. I toss him a treat and he stands up. She's just looking at him, which is totally fine, but you can see how stiff she is.
Very nice.
Working with a reactive dog is, a lot of it is being able to read their body language.
Yes. Good girl. Very nice. Good girl.
You'll also notice that sometimes I keep her on the opposite side of me from the other dog. Sometimes I want to see how she does, and I let her go on the side closest to the dog. It's definitely harder for her when she's closer to the dog, but I think that she did pretty well, especially for not taking treats. And I think she took far more treats the second day that I worked with her, which was better for her and better for me. little bit easier to train that way.